time for me to review another Godzilla movie. This one is Godzilla 1985. Godzilla 1985. So you'd think it was released in 1985. Well, it was. It was made, however, and released in Japan in 1984, and it was titled, well, the alternate title, Japanese title, was simply Godzilla, or Return of Godzilla. Then I guess it took like a year for somebody to buy the rights and distribute it in North America and dub it, and it ended up getting picked up by Roger Corman, of all people. New World Pictures, I believe his company. So, of course, they had to dub it, and they decided they wanted to shoot some new scenes with American actors in it, kind of to replicate the very first one. 1985 had some good movies, right? I mean, like Back to the Future, The Breakfast Club, a whole bunch of other ones. This one, in 1985, is probably one of my most memorable movies that I saw. Let me explain. Now, I'm a Godzilla fan. You know, I got some movies here. I have a shit ton of figures, Godzilla figures, that is. I have some comic books. I've got some games. I've got some video games. Got a lot of Godzilla stuff. I've even got a Godzilla tattoo. Yeah, I like Godzilla a little bit. Godzilla 1985 is only the second Godzilla movie I ever saw in the theater, because my very first one was Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Love that movie, even to this day. Now, there was a time in 1985 when I really wanted to go see this movie, and I couldn't find anybody that wanted to go see this movie with me. And I had only one friend that actually asked me and said, "Hey, you like Godzilla? You want to go see this movie?" And I gotta say thank you. Thank you, Joe. I'm not gonna say your last name because I hope you're a subscriber and that you see this video and you recognize that I really appreciate, you going to see this movie with me in the theater. I know it probably wasn't your favorite movie of the year, but yeah, thanks, man. It means a lot to me. What it is, it's a reboot, it's a sequel, and it's ignoring all the movies after the original Godzilla, or Gojira. So in other words, Godzilla never fought Kong, Godzilla never went to Planet X, Godzilla never had a son. All that is erased. This is just Godzilla. It's this badass creature, rises from the Pacific, comes and attacks Tokyo. Godzilla again? What are we gonna do, man? So yeah, Godzilla apparently wants to eat all the radiation coming from like nuclear power plants and stuff like that. He also attacks a Russian nuclear sub and destroys it and consumes all the radiation from it, which sets off this like global scale Cold War incident. So there's high tensions between U.S. and Russian forces at the time, and Russia blames the U.S. for sinking their sub. Or, if it is Godzilla, well, let's just use all these nuclear missiles that we have and fucking nuke them. Did you not get that he eats that stuff, man? So yeah, not a great plan. And the Japanese Prime Minister is like, hell no, you're not using nuclear weapons in our country again. So yeah, Godzilla comes to Tokyo and attacks. It's epic. And it's like, this is a Godzilla that we take seriously. This isn't the Godzilla that like backflips, the electrifying cat monster over his shoulder, or the Godzilla that flies by tucking in his tail and breathing his radiation breath, or the Godzilla that jumps around and dances, even like in Monster Zero. No, this is a totally serious Godzilla. This Godzilla means business. This Godzilla means to kick Tokyo's ass. For what reason, I don't know. I mean, like you'd think all the power plants and stuff would be on the outskirts of the city, but there's Godzilla downtown. I don't know. It just looks really cool. And yeah, speaking of looking pretty cool, I think the effects are pretty good in here. It's not my favorite of the Godzilla suits, though. They actually improved upon it hugely in the next movie, in Godzilla vs. Biollante. But it looks pretty good. It's the most, at least by 1984, 85, this is the most realistic looking Godzilla, I guess. Still looks like a puppet or a guy in a suit and, miniature buildings and tanks and all that stuff. But it looks pretty good. I mean, it's enough for me to just shut my brain off and go and not think about that's a miniature, that's a model, that's a guy in a suit, and that's a laser beam scratched on the film. I don't care about that kind of stuff. If it looks cool, it's cool. If it looks stupid, it might still be cool. Now, Raymond Burr is in this. Of course, Raymond Burr was in the first one, or rather in Godzilla King of the Monsters, 1956. He played reporter Steve Martin. No, not that Steve Martin. And in Godzilla 1985, he plays, I guess, the same character. And they bring him in, and basically all he's there for is kind of to give, like, a kind of description or a philosophical viewpoint of Godzilla attacking Tokyo and returning from what they thought was, from the dead. Who's the real monster here? Perhaps Godzilla can teach us something, if we could only communicate with him. And perhaps he is beyond our understanding. He is not a monster. He is a force of nature, and blah, 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 blah. And he's boring, but, and yeah, he talks a lot, but doesn't really do anything. Maybe we gotta deal with him, but maybe we gotta kind of find out what he really wants. In this whole movie, they don't find out what Godzilla wants. They learn that they can lure him in different directions by playing, like, the sound of bird song or something. And so they, eventually in the end, they lure him into a volcano, and they blow up the volcano to make it erupt, and he dies. Or he's trapped in the volcano. It's not dead. Godzilla doesn't die. He doesn't ever. Oh, speaking of dying, he actually, I think, technically does die, at least for a couple minutes in this movie. They managed to, using their brand new Super X space plane, they managed to distract Godzilla. They shoot a flare up in the air, and then they shoot missiles down his throat. And this apparently stops his heart, and he falls over, and it's like he's dead. And people are like, Godzilla's dead? And one guy's like, no, it takes much more to stop Godzilla. It's like, oh, okay, thanks, Mr. Positive. But, of course, the day is saved, or at least Godzilla is saved. Everybody else's day is pretty fucked already. By 2 nuclear missiles, one of which is a Russian nuclear missile aimed right at Godzilla, and another one which is the U.S. missile sent to deflect it and explode it, and hopefully it's not going to make contact. So yeah, so the 2 missiles collide over Tokyo, of course, like right almost there, and Godzilla gets showered with all the radiation and brings him back to life, and he destroys the Super X super space plane, and he continues to trash Tokyo until they lure him out of town with the bird call, dump him in a volcano. Done. And the Americans watched it all on TV and drank Dr. Pepper and talked about all the philosophical points about, things about Godzilla that maybe we should, think of Godzilla as a tragic hero or whatever. Yeah, so they don't do anything. It's just like they were watching it on TV, and this was all happening in Japan, and I am perfectly fine with the dubbing. Sometimes I have a problem with the dubbing in Godzilla movies, but, it's good here, and it's professional, and it's serious, because it's a serious movie. There's very little comedy in this, and what there is kind of like, meh. There's nothing funny, like, or just super stupid, like in some other Godzilla movies. No, it's intelligent, makes sense to, I don't know, I was 14, it made sense to me at the time. Not that I thought it was real or anything, it was just like, I don't care. Radiation, bird calls, nuclear Wessels? Sure, man. Sounds like a good time. And it is a good time. This is a good movie. Probably not one of my top 5 Godzilla movies. I got a master list written out somewhere because there's like 30 plus movies and I got to keep track of them. So it's probably not top 5, but top 10, definitely. And I can't tell you how happy I am to see Godzilla back in the theaters again. I don't care how popular it is, I'm going to like it. Even if I hate it, I'm going to like it. Does that make sense? It's an obsession, man. So yeah, I guess I'd better give Godzilla 1985 a rating. I'm going to give it an A minus. Now, I would have given it an A, but just, thinking about all those other Godzilla movies that I like just that much better. There's a few things about it that are kind of hokey, especially like the Dr. Pepper product placement in here. The acting on the part of the American actors. Yeah, say what you want about the guy in the suit, but it works in this movie, even though it's a little janky looking. But I mean, come on, man, this was like 37 years ago or something. Yeah, anyway, fantastic Godzilla movie. If you like Godzilla at all, I think you have to see this one. You have to, because it kickstarted the whole new era of even better Godzilla movies going forward. Well, not all of them are better. Anyway, Godzilla 1985, superior Godzilla film. So until next time, have a good one, everybody.